Well, the city of Palm Springs recently voted to cancel this year's 4th of July fireworks, and a lot of people now want to know why. I spoke with Councilmember Geoff Kors today about this and other issues in the city. Geoff, first of all, let me ask you, you voted against having a fireworks show this 4th of July in Palm Springs. For people who aren't familiar with this whole issue, why did you do that?
Sure. So we've talked for the last several years about coming up with a more inclusive July 4th celebration. You know, having a 15, 20-minute fireworks display, which is beautiful, and I personally love fireworks, at 9:15 or 9:30 at night is not the most family-friendly, inclusive event we can do. And you know, this came to us at the last minute because staff wasn't sure if we'd even be able to do an event this year. So we didn't budget for an event. It had already been canceled due to COVID. So this came back, and I actually asked if we could continue it to the next meeting so we could discuss options and get more community input. But we were told that that was not possible because the vendor had to know immediately if we were going to do it or not. And then if there were restrictions due to COVID or due to wildfires, we forfeited all the money if it had to be canceled. So prior to it, I got a number of people called and a bunch of emails. As usual, against fireworks, the animal shelter, you know, we run the only no-kill animal shelter in the entire region. And they see the impacts of fireworks on more stray dogs and on wildlife and all the problems with that. So they had reached out, they spoke in public comment. My initial inclination was we probably do it this year and we fix this issue, which I've asked for several years to be addressed next year. But it was clear other council members shared the same concerns. So what three of us did is we voted not to do the fireworks, but then voted to do an alternative, more inclusive event. And staff's doing such a great job. I heard from people that night who wanted to help with laser light shows and other events. And this is going to be such a great July 4th celebration this year. There are going to be events at several parks for kids and families throughout the day. There's going to be an event at the swimming pool. There'll be events with water in different parks and all kinds of opportunities to do really family-friendly celebrations. And then we're looking at a couple headliner events at night, a movie in a park, concerts, as well as a laser light show that many other cities do. So I'm really excited to do something that's just much more inclusive, that welcomes everyone, and doesn't have some of the negative consequences that people have expressed concern with fireworks.
I'm curious, Geoff, are you surprised by the backlash that this has generated?
You know, I'm never surprised. You know, people who don't like the result are going to voice their opinion, and they're welcome to. But I've heard more from people who are supportive and are glad we're doing this than I have from people who are against. But I've heard from both sides. You know, some people saying we're, you know, it's unpatriotic. But we're going to celebrate July 4th. If we can do something that's new and innovative and more inclusive, that's what Palm Springs is about. And, you know, I'm glad three of us voted to expend money to do a July 4th celebration. Unfortunately, two members chose not to, and that's their right. But I think we're doing something great, and I want us to have a great time.
All right, let's talk about some other issues now. What's the latest with Well in the Desert and the homeless situation in Palm Springs?
You know, Mayor Holstage and Councilmember Garner are liaisons on homelessness, but I know that they and staff are working regarding a new location for Well in the Desert. You know, we've approved over 200 units of affordable housing. Many of them have wraparound services for people exiting homelessness. And that's just a key priority. We're also been working with the county because the Ivy Pond project did not happen to convert a hotel into apartments with services, that we're going to look at doing a larger project with modular housing, but modular housing that has bathrooms and kitchen and facilities with wraparound services. Because the real goal, if you can end homelessness, is housing. And it needs to be housing with services because homelessness covers so many issues from mental health. And now Roy's is reopened as a board and care mental health facility in Palm Springs that the county's been working on for several years. And we have to address all of those pieces. So I think it's moving forward. It's a challenge. The governor announced $12 billion towards trying to end homelessness for families in California. And that's really exciting. We haven't seen this kind of investment from the state.
Any update with the hotels still under construction in Palm Springs?
Sure. So the Andaz, what was going to be the Hyatt Andaz, we don't have the brand yet. It's now being called the Palm Springs Hotel. So the folks who now own it. It went through bankruptcy proceedings. They've invested $40 million into it. They're expecting to start construction. They've come up with some changes, but probably by October, and that seems to be going well. We haven't really heard much from the Dream Hotel or the Orchid Tree Hotel. And we did go back to bankruptcy court on the one next to Rick's restaurant on North Palm Canyon, which has freed us up to now take enforcement action, because our goal is to get that structure demolished, because it's an eyesore. It can be a fire hazard as we're going into wildfire season. So we've been working diligently on all the 4 stalled hotel projects to get those moving and to get the courts engaged. And so we've had success with the bankruptcy court on one of them. We have one that's moving forward, and hopefully the other 2, if we need to go to court and get them put in receiverships. So a court's involved in making sure they either get built or we need something else done. We can't have eyesores sitting in the middle of the city or historic buildings as we do with the Orchid Tree in our tennis club neighborhood that have been sitting vacant with the same owner for over a decade and have already had 1 fire. So we really do need to go to court, and we've tried very hard working with these developers, and we are ready to work with them, but they need to get moving forward, or we need a court to get them to move forward.
And before we let you go, last question,
Sure.
Marilyn, what's going on with her, the statue?
Sure. So, I expect Marilyn will be here sometime in the next month or 2. Once we have a date finalized that we hear from Pierce Resorts, we'll share it with the public. There's a group that doesn't want her in that location in front of the museum. Of course, she's a football field and a half away from the museum. The pictures that were published, one in the Desert Sun, make it look like she's right at the museum steps. You can see the platform now. She's almost all the way at Bellardo, not right in front of the museum. But most importantly, when she was here, it so helped businesses. So many businesses who I've walked said that was the best summers they ever had. And we need a great summer. Our businesses, while they're starting to do well again, some of them have 12 months back rent they haven't paid. They haven't paid their utilities. They haven't been able to bring back all their employees. PS Resorts wanted to bring her here permanently, but temporarily in that location, to bring people who are at a vacation rental or a hotel during the summer a reason to go downtown and then eat out and shop. And I think that's what council said. We really want to make sure we have to keep our unique businesses. If we lose what makes Palm Springs special, why people want to visit here, why we want to live here, we've lost the heart and soul of our city. So as a temporary location, she's going to help bring people down here. It's an iconic scene. It's one that, books have written, made her a feminist. It sort of helped lead to her divorce from Joe DiMaggio, who she felt controlled her. It led her to do her own production company. I read a great book on this, really about how that movie and that scene really changed her life for the better, and how she credits that with her feminism.
All right, Geoff, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Peter.